Welcome viewers. Our today's topic is motivation. What is motivation and how we can motivate ourselves? So quite often we hear about lack of motivation adversely affecting our lives. So today with us we have a special person, administrator and an active psychologist. He has received national and international acclaims for his simple concept and practical application for attaining universal happiness. He believes we have several opportunities to motivate ourselves. We shall seek clarification on this from the person himself, Mr. Sanjay Mukherjee, our guest today. Sir, welcome to our show.
Hello. Yes.
So, sir, may we request you to kindly explain your simple observation that opportunities for motivating ourselves are available with us.
Okay, you asked a very good question. I will answer this question with a small story. If you have a Japanese friend and you tell him that you're not passing through a good time, you feel depressed, you feel demotivated, he would probably tell you, put a shark in your tank. Put a shark in your tank. What does it mean? Shark, we know. In Bengali, it is called hangur. In Hindi, I don't know. But yes, shark everyone knows in English. So put a shark in your tank. I'll tell you a story, and this is not a story, it's just something which happened with a country like Japan. Japan, as you know, is the nation is very fond of fish. It's surrounded by the sea. For years, they have been, extracting fish, and the fish near the coast had dwindled. So they made larger boats, went deep into the sea and came back. Now the Japanese people are fond of fresh fish. Now since it took a long time for the boat to come back, they felt that no, it's become stale. The price dropped. So they said, okay, what do we do? We have refrigerators, freezers in the boat. They went deep inside the sea. They took a lot of fish and frozen them and came back. But the Japanese people didn't like it because they like fresh fish. And they knew the difference that a frozen fish and a fresh fish feels different. So they said, okay, fine. What we would do is we will have huge ponds inside the ship. They went deep inside the sea. They stuffed the entire ponds, those pools, stuffed with fish. Stuffed in the sense, after some time, the fish could not even move. But they said, okay, we'll have a lot of fish. And then they came back. But surprisingly, these fishes, since they did not move, they didn't have any activity, their tastes dropped. And the Japanese people, they have a wonderful taste. So they said, no, this is not going to work. So the Japanese government also became very, very worried. The Japanese people, who were selling fish, their sales have dropped, their money income had dropped, and even the export, they wanted to export. Now the export will also drop. So the entire nation was at a standstill regarding this particular problem of fish. So how did they solve this fish problem? They consulted someone, and he suggested that have the same thing. You take the fish right into the sea. Have the pool stuffed with fish, but put a small shark inside the tank. He said, why? The shark will eat the fish. He said, true, it will. But out of, say, 10,000 fishes, it will eat about 100. And so it happened when it came back, the fishes were absolutely fresh. Why? Because the fish, they were always trying to save themselves from the shark, and in that process, they were challenged for life, otherwise they will be eaten up. So in the process, when they came back, they were fully fresh, and the Japanese people liked it. Now this was suggested by a psychologist. There was a famous psychologist who said that a man thrives only under challenge. And what is a challenge? That's a motivation. The motivation is a challenge. Now, motivation can be two types. One, the challenge which you found to save himself. Another is to do well. But in both cases, the motivation is there. But we need to, if we succumb under pressure, then we don't see motivation. But if we see a challenge as an opportunity, it is a motivation. So we need to see a challenge as an opportunity, as a motivation to do well. So this is in short the just as they say, man cannot be perfected without trials. Like a gem without polish, without friction, cannot be polished. You need some kind of pressure. Now, in your life, if you feel that you do not have any trouble, be very careful. Try to create a problem. Try to create an aim. Try to create a challenge in your life so that you remain fresh as the fishes were. Okay? That's in brief the basis of motivation. So we have in front of us motivation all everywhere, but we should not look at them as dampening. We should take them as a challenge. One of the very famous saints of India, Swami Vivekananda, had said, you are looking for God, you have God moving all around you. Who? The people in front of you. They are moving gods. You serve them and you serve God. Similarly, you have challenges all over. These are the sources of motivation, and this is what we need to capitalize on. Look at that challenge, take it as a motivation and excel. So that's it.
Thanks for your nice explanation, sir. So next question I would like to ask you that for success, motivation should be backed up by proper execution, planned execution, I mean, right?
That's right.
So how does one can plan or decide upon the correct way forward?
See, there are two things. First is we need to we have a problem, so-called problem. We try to solve it in a particular way, the way we know it. Change the approach. If you change the approach to the problem, you will find that it is not a problem. I would tell you a small story which happened with the Americans. Around 50s, the Americans, they started their space research. They found at the geostationary orbit where there is no gravity, the astronauts float, it's very difficult to write. The pen doesn't work. So they were spending money, putting the pen upside down or whatever, they could not. Then someone said, why are you wasting, and they've spent so much of money, thousands of dollars. They said, why are you doing this? Go to Anderson Consultants. Now, all of you would now know that this Anderson Consultants have changed their name to Accenture. It's a very famous software company. So they went to Anderson Consultants and told them, see, this is our problem. We are going up there and it will be weightlessness. We have to write something and the ink doesn't flow and all that. They came back in 1 week's time. Their answer was, use a pencil. Now, what is implied here is that if you are involved in a problem, you can't see the solution. Are you looking at the problem or are you looking at the solution? If you have the capacity to go beyond that and change your approach, you can get the solution. In case you cannot, you'll have to take the help of someone who will help you to find the solution because he is not involved in this problem. So he would be able to give you the the solution and without looking at the problem, which you cannot. So that means you have to go to, if it's a mental problem, you have to go to a psychologist. If it's a physical problem, you have to go to the right technocrat. So that is after you have yourself exhausted all your options, that no, you cannot find the solution, but your motivation is there. Don't lose the motivation. Keep the motivation on and look for a solution. If you feel that the solution is still not achievable, or you're not very sure, consult the right person and he will be able to do it, because he is not himself involved in this problem. Okay, so that's the way that you can get success, and that's the way that you get motivation.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for your kind explanation and all this. So goodbye viewers. Join in the next video.